What is up, everybody? Loud No Hippie Trucking and Transportation. Just going to wait for a few people to come in. I know it's the middle of the day, so it might not be the best time. All right. Great, and what's up? Got a couple of things to talk about today. Mainly some quitters. God damn it. My dog is tripping out. I might have to make this fast. What's up, Jared? What's up, Afro? So actually, before I even get into this, well, no, we might as well just go ahead and start talking about this. People can catch this on the replay or whatever. But just had another shoe drop out at Prime. There, another driver just quit. I'm joking about what my title was, though. A bunch of quitters. I mean, it is accurate, but I do not fault them for any decisions they make. As a matter of fact, I kind of knew about this before it actually became public in both those circumstances. Can anybody hear me? I think I had my volume set at the wrong thing. So anyway, if you haven't watched the videos, Trucking Along with Kiersey just put out her video. She's leaving Prime after almost 10 years, saying that she didn't want to leave. She always thought that was going to be her retirement place, all that kind of stuff. So hurt to see that. Hurt to see Romaine. It hurt to see a bunch of people, other people that nobody really would know about unless you know them personally. So I don't know how this is going to be addressed, if it's going to be addressed at all. I think there's a couple more. I'm expecting that, at least one that's pretty high profile, and then maybe a couple more, but anyway, I just wonder if this is going to be looked at, or if people are going to look at this sort of like a canary in the coal mine situation, which would be a proactive way to look at it rather than just full steam ahead. But that's what my hope would be. Not that anything needs to be. Listen, I'm not going to get too into this because I'm not going to have anybody getting on my ass about anything. But, some of the stuff that had people feeling like they needed to leave could have been handled in different situations, even if the same policies were going to be put in place. So that's that. Another thing, I might be coming off the bench to train again. Not anything I expected to do. Hold on. I need a drink for that one. Shit. I was not planning on training. But I got a message today. The message was, as a matter of fact, let me just read the messages because I don't want to, it's not too, I just don't want to mess up the messages. But I get a message today asking if I was still training. So I said, hell no. And then jokingly, I said, you need a trainer? Ha ha ha. Chicken lover, I could be whatever you want me to be. So he said, hell yeah, just for TNT. I was thinking of you, but I wasn't sure if you were still training or not. And I was like, if you are serious, you need to let me know. And he said, okay, I'm serious. I'm at Prime right now. So we had a little conversation, and the person that is asking me to, and it's not training, to be honest with you. It's my old trainer has been out of the mortgage or been out of trucking for over a year. So if he wants to come back, he's going to need to complete some miles. So I figured I would go ahead and do that. It hasn't been finalized yet, but I figure I would be helping 3 people out with that. Now, I don't know what the money's like in training anymore. This would be more of nostalgia because I did have a good time when he was training me, right? So, I just feel like if my trainer's coming back to Prime and he gets a guy that's been driving trucks for like 2 years, if that driver actually feels like he needs to fucking train, that's not going to be a good match. So if he, I just know he already knows what to do. Maybe update him on some new policies that are kind of at Prime or whatever, and he'd be good to go. So, but I am only training for the nostalgia. I'm not doing it for the money or any of that kind of stuff. So anyway. So we'll see about that. I did go ahead and get my truck in the shop a little bit earlier than I planned on, since I may end up training out. If he's at Prime right now, I don't know if I can make it out there soon enough to actually pick him up. He said he'd wait, but I'm just not sure how Prime would be just letting him sit around and wait. All right, T News, what's up? Hope everything's going good over at Landstar. Trucking life with my Filipino wife. Trucking, are you talking about Kiersey's video when she just quit earlier today? Or when she spoke about quitting earlier today? I don't talk to Kiersey a lot, but I talk to her enough to kind of be able to tell kind of what the temperature is in the room. So when she was saying that she was going to be quitting Prime, I kind of took that for what it was. Now, when Romaine was saying he's thinking about quitting Prime, I didn't try to talk him into anything. I just wanted to make sure that he. I don't know how to pronounce that name. Boy, that's how you know you're getting fucking old, when people start calling you that. Off-grid trucker, I need a t-shirt that says it's not about the money. Well, it is kind of about the money, but not like, I know that the money is not there from when I was training before and when he trained me. I know that kind of money is not around anymore. In reality, anything that he in reality, any I mean, listen, my connection might be fucked up, so I'm gonna have to go to my Wi-Fi situation. But for those of you guys, I was just jokingly talking about Romaine the trucker quitting Prime. He posted up a video a couple days ago. Kiersey, trucking along with Kiersey, she just posted a video. She's leaving Prime after almost 10 years. So that's kind of what my title was about. Those of you guys just came in. My trainer, apparently, the guy that trained me, without telling me, ended up coming back to Prime. And then he needs somebody to help him with them miles. So I told him that I'd go ahead and knock those out with him if he, if it wasn't a problem of, when I get there. I will come off of home time a little early for him, but I don't know if I'll still be able to get out there early enough. So yeah, it's not about the money, and I definitely wouldn't be making as much money as I was making before, but it's probably not enough money to make up for the fact that I'd be teaming, because I don't consider it training. Like, he fucking was one of the best drivers on my fleet manager's fleet back then, and I'm sure he didn't forget how to do all this shit. He might be surprised about some of the micromanagement that's going on these days, but I'll break him into that slowly. All right. Oh shit. They are a little ashy. Okay, so oh boy says, I need a shirt that says I'm black. Of course my knuckles are ashy. Man, I didn't even think about that. I did just get out of the shower just a little while ago. So yeah, Slime Pack, pretty soon you're going to be one of the oldest people at Prime if you stay around another couple weeks. Just joking, but authentically dollar chasing, what's up? Drew, what's up? All right. So hopefully now listen, this is not usual. Now, I don't care how good of a company that you think, I'm trying not to, I don't care how good of a company you think that you got, when people like that start leaving, and then there's, maybe one more that's kind of out, a little noticeable. At some point it's time to self-reflect. Now, the question is it going to be looked at like self-reflection is needed? I don't know. Off-grid trucker, as far as the micromanaging goes, that's not coming from my fleet manager. My fleet manager, I don't even try to call his ass anymore. That ain't gonna happen. Like, the answering the phone on that. So if anything, he's the anti-micromanager. But I'm just talking about the systems and all this kind of stuff that's in place. All right, this picture behind me is a picture that I bought. This is kind of a play picture, but there's a picture that I don't know if I could turn it around over there, but there's a picture over there. That's actually kind of a real picture. A few more. But these two pictures, this one and the first one I showed over here, I used to work with the girl. Well, she's old now. Actually, shit, she's probably 70 something. But she needed some money, so I, said, I'll buy some of the artwork. So this was something that got thrown in on that piece over there. This is a Spike Lee print. Too much glare to see, but I don't know. All right, so yeah, so my fleet manager does not do that, but like I said, the policies and procedures are definitely micromanaging. Told my wife she should embrace her mistake, and she gave me a big hug. Yeah, that'd probably go for my wife as well. Would I recommend a team coming to Prime? Oh man. I'm not sure I would recommend a team coming to Prime. Slime Pack wants to crack on somebody. Listen, here's what I'm going to say. If, in fact, I do pick up my old trainer to run teams with me for a while so he can get his miles, I am not expecting to do more than 4,000 miles a week. I'm not expecting it. Okay. Now, could I get more than 4,000 miles a week? Potentially. But I remember when, especially me and him when I was going through training, I mean, we were running so hard. It was like, we just got to stop at some point. I don't think it's at that point right now. So I can't necessarily answer that question. I haven't teamed, but I do know trainers, at least 2 trainers that actually 3 trainers that used to train that aren't training currently because they're not finding it financially equitable for them to do that. Now, so I don't know. I haven't done it. I haven't teamed or anything like that in 2 years plus, something like that. Maybe 2.5 years. So I don't know. I'm not sure that I would do that. Off-grid trucker, I must be missing something. Past due. All right, Hitler still staying strong at 136 years old. All right. All right, T News. Seeing videos like crazy of them losing drivers on YouTube. I'm not even going to say what I think. I'm going to just say what I've heard people saying is well, Kiersey said it in her video earlier today that she just didn't feel like she was being valued as a company driver. So that was what she had said. I spoke with Romaine the trucker a few times on the phone, and he was wanting to train. And this had to be going back like maybe 3 months or something like that. He wanted to train and never got the call up, and he was wondering if it was because he was a company driver. So I don't know. Like I said, there's a few more people that I'm just waiting for. Or not waiting for. I'm actually not believing that they're doing it. If that shoe drops, that's going to be pretty noticeable as well. All right, Okay, authentically chasing dollars and ends. I'm good at Prime. My FM keeps me running and never calls or messages me. I'm an owner, not leasing or company. Reefer division, I have no complaints so far. Technically, I don't have any complaints. If you're going, here's the thing: is oh shit, somebody dropped the trailer. And it looks like it's a Trans Am truck with a Prime trailer somebody just sent to me. At least it didn't hit the ground. All right, anyway. So I think there's a difference between people that have been at Prime for, let's say, 3 years plus, and then drivers that have been here 3 years or newer-ish, somewhere in there. It was billed totally different. It was more, that whole family type shit. People took that shit serious. You know what I mean? Like, in Kiersey's video, she was just talking about, people had accused her of drinking the Kool-Aid, and she said the Kool-Aid was sweet. It was, and it was never it was hold on just a second. Boy, people are messaging the shit out of me. All right. There were it was more, obviously the money mattered, but it was more than the money, I believe, especially if you go back to those people that have been at Prime for like way longer than I was. Those people that when Rob Lowe was about to go broke and go out of business, those drivers that said, we'll drive for 2 weeks or however long it was without getting paid. That's what, and it was the company doing shit back. I talked to a driver that's been at Prime for, I don't know how long. His wife or something had to go to the hospital, and it's a vague story at this point. I don't remember, but either way, they gassed up the private jet and fucking, either he went there to meet her, they both flew there to go to the hospital or something like that. It was more than the money. It was, and I still think they have that in-house to some degree. I don't know. At least that's the way it appears, but I just think that, I'm not even going to say what I think about it. I'm just going to say canaries in the coal mine. And there might be too many canaries to where, maybe if 1 or 2 drop, it's not that big of a deal. I don't know. But yeah, it was very sad to see them to leave. All right. Elton's Barbecue Pit, what's going on? One of my boys from the barbecue channel, man. It's always good to see them people from the barbecue channel. I was almost about to go buy a brisket, and I was just like, man, I just can't do it. I just don't have the motivation. And again, back to the comment where authentically chasing ends, I don't know if you're on the A fleet or if your truck is paid off or, whatever that situation is. My truck is paid off. So even if the money gets bad, it's not that bad. So I'm not in that category. So, so I don't have that pressure on me. Up another one. Hold on. Slime Pack quit Prime and it's gun. Slime Pack didn't say nothing about quitting no land. I would have got it. I would have got a text on that one. Hopefully. Hey, Jasmine, if you ever quit Prime, at least give me a heads up to watch out. All right. Another one from my barbecue days. What's up, Mr. Mega Fred Zeppelin? Stopping by to say hello. Hit the thumbs up while on my break and at work. Rock on. Well, we at least got 2 people from my barbecue days back up in here. Off grid trucking, self reflection. You know what? No matter how good your company is, self reflection is always a good thing to do. At least doesn't matter if you want to change things or not. Nobody, I don't, you at least have to notice it and understand why, and then either adjust or not. But at least you have the information. All right, Puerto Rico is in the channel. What's up, Joey the Roach? All right. Off-grid trucker, they're chasing away YouTubers. I don't know. I'm really not no YouTuber anymore. All right. Alexander Bryant, who cares about being valued? Get that money. Well, they kind of go hand in hand to some degree. I think that whether you say, okay, forget about the, being valued, get the money, if that means going somewhere else, like I've always said, there has to be more than money to make the move, right? So if you're chasing money, you just can't run that fast. Now, what I'm saying is, if somebody feels valued at a company, or you feel like, it's a family atmosphere and all this kind of stuff, then if something changes, a lot of times you're going to be riding a lot of those changes out. You know what I mean? So, tax, insurance, and accessories, what's up? Joe Wilson, rumor has it that Slime Pack is going to go to Landstar. And all right, I knew that was okay. Don't be lying on me. I'm not going Landstar, Jasmine says. Okay. Wednesday night, do I eat corn the long way? Yeah, I just be in there like this. I don't know. A lot of it's the camera angle. All right, authentically chasing ends. Do I think it's a good time to leave Prime and test the waters with the new smaller company? In my opinion, it's not. It's not, with all the uncertainty with the market. I probably would not be leaving if you're uncertain about it. But I don't know. All right. Porch Monkey, do I ever regret being born black instead of normal? No, I don't mind putting in double the work to get to the same place and then rub it in people's faces like you. All right. All right, it has to make business sense. Of course, it has to make business sense. You just don't know. Now's the time, now is the time of the year the Prime could be ready to, step it up a little bit. So I don't know. All right, Afro, what do I think about Eric's video about the camera going off when he was off duty? I'm the one that told him about that. I'm the one that, said, here's what I'm seeing. So if you watch that video and he said he didn't ever notice it until somebody brought it to his attention, I brought it to his attention. Jackie Flood, what's up? So anyway, just to talk about what I've mainly came in here to talk about. Okay, so We already spoke about the last two people leaving Prime. Now, there have been a lot more people than that. These are just noticeable people that have YouTube channels, stuff like that. So we spoke about that, and then I might come off the bench and get back into training one last person. And it wouldn't be training. My old trainer's coming back to Prime. And he's been out of trucking for about a little, I don't know, year and a half, whatever. And they're making him put in the miles. So I told him that Peruvian trucker, that's beside the point whether you close the curtains or not. This is how people keep getting. Never mind. I'm not even gonna talk about it. Because listen, I don't even want to talk. I'm gonna just Peruvian trucker. It's like this. When you stop the truck, the camera's gonna go off. And then when you stop the truck, it's gonna go off after 5 minutes. And then when you stop the truck, it's like every time you turn around, it's gonna change and make it more and more invasive. You know what I'm saying? So it doesn't, like I said, I could, at this point, I really don't give. Listen, there's way more shit to be worried about than a fucking camera, right? I don't like it. And I'm not, I've never changed my view on that. And I don't care if the thing's on or not. What I do care about is when the goalpost keeps moving. You know what I mean? So, all right, I hear you, Peruvian trucker. All right. Somebody's asking you a question, Peruvian trucker. So that's my only thing about this. All right. Off-grid trucker says if they had our interest in mind, they would have side cameras as well. Probably. I don't know. I don't know, but so anyway, I may be cutting my home time short to go out here and pick up my boy in Springfield. If in fact he can wait, because I won't be able to leave any earlier than next Wednesday, maybe Tuesday. So if he could wait that long, then we could put the team back together and get out on the road. If it wasn't for him, there's no way that I would have been able to do 7 months in training. All right. Okay, when the rules of the game change the way that you play the game. You really can't change the way the game's being played much here. What's up, Everett? What's going on? I mean, to be honest with you, and this is going to sound stupid too. I had such a good time with my trainer, so even for that reason alone, I was ready to change my mind. But I think a lot of what I think about when I think about times with my trainer was not just that. It was what Prime was back then. that is kind of encompassed into that feeling as well. You know what I'm saying? That is a big part of it that I didn't really think about until I, had a chance to reflect on it a little bit. But I mean, we did have some good times, man, and I still haven't been as gangster as he was. Like, I still remember being in Boston and nowhere to park, all this kind of shit. I don't remember why we went that far into Boston. Anyway, we were there and we were at this Walmart and we just backed into the fucking dock like we were delivering there and got up leaving. This was back before COVID, so most Walmarts were 24 hours a day back then, except this was like one of the smaller Walmarts. So we just went there, posted up, and left out of there like 5 a.m, whatever. Actually, it might have been a holiday. I don't remember, but that was pretty gangster right there. Okay. Give me just a second. All right. Oh, none. Hey, Tom, I was just talking about a couple people leaving Prime. Kiersey just put out her video today talking about leaving Prime. And then, Romaine just quit a couple days ago, but we were talking about one time what my trainer did one time when we were up in Boston, but that came up because I potentially may become a trainer at Prime again just to get my old trainer some miles since he's been out of trucking for about a year. And he's the only one I would have fucking done it for right there. She was very elegant in her video. All right, hold on just a second. But my trainer got out of trucking to kind of chase the music game. So I still think that's what he wants to do, but he probably needs to stack up a little bit more money. Anyway, here's my trainer right here. He was pouring that out for me. It's a little soft for me. Anyway. All right, Roger Rabbit. Have I ever considered doing line haul here in Colorado? Nah, not really. I want to get out of this snow in the wintertime. I don't mind dabbling in it if I need to, but And here's the funny thing about my trainer. So that was my second trainer. So I got me and my first trainer, we blew up, you know. So this trainer here, it was an interesting dynamic, you know what I'm saying? So I think at the time I was like 50, 50, 50, and he was like 24, something like that. So a very interesting dynamic. And I think that we learned a lot from each other. I mean, I obviously learned how to drive a truck. I think he might have learned a little bit about life. All right. All right, chilling. Have I ever considered kicking back in the backwoods of Colorado and living the chill life? You know, it's been a while since I've been up there, but I got some friends that live up in Kittredge, Colorado. We used to go up there every couple weeks or something like that, spend the night and just chill out. And that was pretty much in the middle of nowhere. I've been thinking, man, because I don't have the same desires as when I was younger, moving out east a little bit more, not like I-70 east, but more like Elizabeth or Franktown or something like that. All right. Ever hear of Bubba Got Beats? He was my IT director at our flagship paper. Went off to do music. No, I never heard of that. Summit County, Colorado is a sweet place to retire. Yeah, I don't think I'd be up there in the mountains. I kind of still like being close to fucking everything. You know what I'm saying? Like it was nice to, get away and go up there. But listen, I don't want to be sneaking out of the house, looking around to see if a bear is about to snatch my ass up or, any of that crazy shit. I got just enough of the country. Like, honestly, the only thing I don't like about this is when you start getting older, this is pretty much a ranch, right? So most everything I need is on this one level, but there's a whole nother floor down there that if it's snowing outside, I got to take my dog down. It's just like steps everywhere. You know what I'm saying? I got to go downstairs, let my dog out that way, or I got to go out here. And that's fine now, but, down the road, you may not be wanting to hit all them steps. But those of you guys that haven't watched the video yet, make sure you run over and check out Trucking Along with Kiersey. Her video, very thoughtful, very insightful. If you haven't watched Romaine the Trucker, go check out his video as well. I wasn't expecting Kiersey's video to come out today. I was expecting it to come out in a few more days. Okay, I guess the Trans Am truck that was dropped earlier was not a Prime trailer, so at least that's what the text came in and said. So go check out Peruvian Trucker since we're talking about his text right here. Peruvian Trucker. I thought he might have still be on home time. Yeah, Peruvian Trucker. That's a cool dude right there. I mean, I could deal with it because I'm, friends with him and shit. If you're not, you might have to get past a little bit more clickbait than you might want to get in with them. But, it's all good. Now, if Peruvian trucker ever quits Prime and puts up like a video like saying he quit Prime, I'm gonna assume that's some clickbait. So anyway, that's really all I wanted to come on here and say. Got that high quality H2O. Tell you what, a movie to watch. I just watched it today. I don't even know what made me watch that movie. I would have thought that shit was so goofy. Um,
Our client.
Romaine's coming in with the late information. All right, a movie that I would watch if you have like Netflix or something is Unfrosted. I would have never thought this movie would have been funny, but it was hilarious. You got like, okay, this would have been one of the reasons I wouldn't have watched the movie. But Jerry Seinfeld, I think he directed it, maybe even wrote it. I'm not sure. But Jerry Seinfeld, which almost is why I didn't watch the movie, because that goofy Friends bullshit right there, I just didn't know. Anyway, Jerry Seinfeld, Amy Schumer, excuse me, Hugh Grant, what's this other? Jim Gaffigan, Melissa McCarthy. I'm just naming off the bigger names. Bill Burr, who's an excellent comedian. He played President Kennedy. Cedric the Entertainer was in it. What's that little short dude from that one show that I've never watched? Peter Dinklage or something like that. He was in it. The short dude from Game of Thrones. The one ad executive dude from Mad, whatever that was. The ad movie back that's based in the 50s. I'm not seeing him on here, but George Wallace, another funny comedian, was in this movie. I can't believe they don't have that. Huh. So anyway, good movie. Check it out. You know, I think I saw that movie, Government Cheese. I need to get a refresher, but I think I remember seeing that. Mad Men was the name of that movie. That guy, the main character, was in this movie. John Hamm. All right, so anyway, check it out. All right, Midlife Trucker. I'm coming out a whole lot earlier than I planned on coming out if I need to team with my old trainer. So if that's the case, I'll probably leave the house in about a week. I was at least going to do another 2 weeks and maybe another 4 or 5 days after that. Matter of fact, let me Google this show that you're talking about. Nope, I haven't seen that movie. But I can tell you this right now, has one of the best actors, one of the most underrated actors out there, Bokeem Woodbine. That makes it worth watching right there. He is such a good fucking actor, especially in that movie or that TV show Fargo. So yeah, that's definitely a movie I will catch when I can. Last week I saw Trans Am pulling a Prime trailer delivering to Myers in Lansing, Michigan. Myers had to call security to break the couple up from fighting in the parking lot. That's crazy. Bryce, no, I haven't done that yet today. The day is young. Rich, check out Landman. So anyway, there we go. Let's call Kiersey. She ain't gonna answer the phone. Jake Dragon, what's up? Probably got a lot of phone calls with today's events. All right. Please. All right. Anyway, shit. Like Forrest Gump said, that's about all I got to say about that. Need to come over here, take this dog out to go, which is another thing. My dogs are, well, I only have one dog now because my other dog died, but too little to go out in the backyard by herself with these owls and eagles and coyotes running around here. And somebody asked me, and I don't even know why this question came up. What would I do if an eagle grabbed my dog? Now that would all depend on if the eagle had left with my dog. But two things: if that eagle left with my dog, I'd have to try to wait for it to come back, and then I'd shoot that motherfucker. Or I don't know. I'm not caring about no eagle, ball-headed eagle, whatever. If it grabs my dog, it's a goner if I have anything to do with it. All right, anyway. All right, well, shoot, I think I made it through this without saying anything that could piss off anybody in-house. Maybe make somebody reflect a little bit, I'm not sure, but I swear to God, hold on. If this is somebody selling me some shit. What's up?
What's happening, man?
I'm on the phone.
That's awesome. Let's try catching a little bit. I know obviously.
Hey, I really don't need anything. I don't know what you're selling, but I don't really.
I know you got like some door window people over here.
Yep.
What I do. Some of the folks you see me on the Facebook group, but I'll try catching other times.
All right. These motherfuckers come up with this friendly knock, like they know a motherfucker or something. All right, so anyway, that's it. I'm about to. Oh shit. Jehovah's Witnesses. You know, I'd be more sympathetic of a Mormon coming to the door, just because I think they treat them people like shit. Like the Mormon church treats them missionaries, them young 18, whatever year olds, they treat them like shit. They make them pay to go on these fucking missions. And then it's just stupid. Anyway, they barely have any money. So, I mean, if it feels like a Mormon missionary here, I'd probably, give them a few cans of soda, some other maybe, But listen, my dad was a preacher. I grew up in the church, and I'm gonna tell you right now, I had too much damn religion as it was. There is no need for. I've already put in my time. There is nothing anybody that could say to fucking move me on that shit. And as the comedian said, what comedian said that? He was talking about black people go to church. And when I say all the time, I mean all the time. They'll have you going to church like wanting to say, God damn, I'd just rather go to hell. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, trust me, my next door neighbor, still my best friend to this day. White dude, they go to church on Sunday, be back all 45 minutes later and shit, including the 10-minute drive. Me, they leave at like, what? They leave at like 8:45 in the morning, get there, do whatever bullshitting around before the service, and they be back by like 10:45. Us, we'd have to be there like 8 something and don't get home. Like, you gotta take snacks to a black church. I'm talking about a real black church. I'm not talking about this like bullshit you see on TV with TD fakes and all these fake ass pastors like that. But well, you gotta take a snack to church. Like, if you go into a black church, that shit lasts too damn long. So anyway, I will not be revisiting my faith anytime ever. And when they say there's no atheists in foxholes, I'm not saying I'm an atheist. I'm just not a believer. Or I believe in science, should you say. Anyway, hope that doesn't piss anybody off too much. But if it did, I don't care either way. And okay, but I'm going to leave right after this. The last thing I'd want, and, if I'm a trainer or if I'm team driving with somebody, the last thing I want is somebody that believes in the afterlife that's like, all right, well, fuck it. If I die, I'm going to the promised land. No, I want somebody that thinks this is it. You know what I'm saying? I don't want anybody, believing that, there's some better shit after this life. I want somebody that wants to keep their ass right here on earth right now. DeAndre Berry, you need to care what God thinks. I don't know. Like I said, I don't want nobody praying about no shit before they start their drive shift or anything like that. They could do it, but I'm not just going to, Like I said, I want somebody that's afraid to die. I don't want nobody that's thinking they're upgrading by going to heaven. All right, Shamarcus, I'm officially an OG Prime YouTuber now. Shit, I don't even know. I think I might have actually had an actual YouTube channel before Kiersey did, even though she's been at Prime longer. Let me check. Or it was pretty close to each other. Yeah, 5 years. I have videos older than 5 years old. So, Vladdy Daddy, I'm not ungrateful. I'm just realistic. What do I need to be grateful for? Listen, I'm not even gonna get into all this because we're gonna be debating this shit all day long. Anyway. So anyway, as far as OG YouTubers, yeah, what happened to like Busy Blake? I know he was trying to make a comeback here maybe about 8 months, a year ago. Crespo, what's up? I just watched your video about the cooler in between the seats and shit. I may be training here pretty soon. Actually, not training. My trainer's coming back to Prime. And since he's been out of trucking for over a year, they're making him do some miles. So I don't look at it as training, but he's about the only person that I would team with. So I told him I would do it if he could wait for me to get out there. So gonna have to watch the begging later. What begging are you talking about? That cooler is great. Damn, I forgot what my damn point was before. But anyway. Bob, my day is going great. Earlier today, I dropped off my beginning. Okay. Dropped off my Peterbilt up at the dealership a little bit earlier today. I wasn't planning on getting it into the shop until Friday. But since I might be picking up my trainer to put the team back together or put the band back together again, I figured, you know what? Let me get it in there early. That would bring back a lot of memories, man. And I would probably be saving. Hold on. I'm saving somebody else too. I could not imagine. And my trainer's so low key that it wouldn't be an issue, but it would. Could you imagine being a trainer that's been in trucking for a year and a half, that goes and picks up my trainer as a student and then actually tries to train him? That's where the mistake would come. It's like, motherfucker, these roles need to be reversed right here. But my trainer was so chilled, never like, well, a lot of it was my temperament. We never got in no arguments. We got in one argument over a flour load that I said I was not going to take. Or if he ever took another flour load, I was going to get off his fucking truck. That's how serious I was about it, because I'd already done my miles. So we had that argument one time, and that was only 2 or 3 sentences on each side. But there were multiple times when people came up and thought that I was the trainer and he was the student. And, you know, I remember I was in Georgia somewhere and somebody comes up to me and is like, hey, man, is there any money being a trainer right now? I've been thinking about doing it. My trainer's standing right next to me. And most people would have been like, I'm the trainer, trying to, swing their dick or whatever. And he just let the whole conversation go out. And, I was just like, hey man, I'm not the trainer. He's the trainer, whatever. But he never had that you never got that feeling like he was trying to belittle you or anything like that. Anyway. All right. People are tired of the no freight BS when Prime is giving away freight to other companies like Trans Am. I don't know anything about that personally. If I could speak on that, I would. So apparently the theory, and I don't know if that's washing out the way it was supposed to be, but the theory explained to me was we're going to get all these customers from Trans Am and we're going to bring this many trucks over. So we're going to have a net gain of so many loads or, whatever it was. And, in theory, that sounds good. I don't know if that's what's happened. I've said that my last 7 weeks that I could really speak about were 5 of those weeks were less than normal. So I was never one to be talking about the money, but I guess the one thing that everybody needs to remember, I see the blonde side is in here from the flatbed gang. So buying a company or doing anything like that, expecting to gain their freight and keep their freight are two totally different things. Apparently flatbed did something very similar to where they bought a company to gain some contracts and then they ended up losing that. So I don't know how this situation's working out on the reefer side. I personally have no animosity towards anybody that's at Trans Am. Other than when they fucking blow by me at 70 miles an hour. Blonde side is in here, one of the few female flatbedders out there grinding. She's one of them people that puts out the real videos showing like that action and everything. Hey, off-grid trucker, the only thing I'm afraid of is you watch a video like that, and it could be like this. And I'm not even saying that anything needs to change, but it's like this. It's like if your wife or girlfriend breaks up with you and lays it out that clear, and you don't at least take notice of that or reflect on what's being said, that is kind of the thing that is a little bit more concerning than anything. Because even if a husband or wife broke up with somebody and that husband or wife felt they did everything perfect, that should at least give you something to think about. So, I mean, it'd be different if it was just the average truck driver, but you're talking about somebody that lived Prime, and a lot of us back in them days did, right? The whole Kool-Aid thing that everybody was throwing around, laughing at Prime about, that she's from that era, former driver advisory board, and you have to have that kind of influence. The amount of money she was making on referrals and shit, you could like her, not like her if you're a company or whatever, or value her or not value her, I should say. But when you're bringing that many people in to a company, that's a lot different than just somebody just leaving. Just a regular person leaving. Joey the Roach has been married 40 years and, of course, has been with 4 women. Well, that's the way to keep it going. Off-grid trucker, I'm going to just tell you right now. Listen, I'm older in my ways, and I'm saying older more as in mindset more so than age. I just don't want to make any moves right now. If I got backed into a corner, or, well, let me put it this way. I'm not going out of my way to not, to like, I'm not worried about anything that happens or that, any retribution or whatever, because I don't know. Tyree is saying that Prime is giving freight away to Trans Am and Wilson, and you're starving out your actual drivers. Like I said, I don't know much about that. I don't really concern myself too much with that. I mean, Wilson's one thing, okay? Wilson's been around longer than most of the fucking drivers, so most of the drivers got to shut the fuck up when it comes to Wilson. Now, Trans Am is a different story. You know what I mean? And regardless, I'm not even gonna say it. Sometimes I just think the shit is so logical. Like, what? How can I say this? It's sort of like, can't explain it. I think a lot of times when people don't offer explanations, they feel like there's no need for them to give an explanation because what the fuck you gonna do? Go solo? You know what I mean? So I feel like a lot of this shit with good communication, I'm not talking about the transparency that is being spoken about. I'm talking about actual dialogue about this is actually what's happening with Trans Am and not lying about it. Here's how many customers we got. Here's how many loads we got. Here's our net, whatever it is, the net gain from this or that. Or even if it's you lost loads in the transaction. Hey, you know what? We fucked up. This didn't work out the way we wanted it to. Maybe we should just, just that conversation. And people will understand. I think a lot of times when you don't say shit and you don't like have conversations, actual real conversations, or you just say, this is the way it is, and it's just the way it is because that's the way it is. It's just because you just either don't care or you just feel like, you feel like you're fucking Fabio or some shit. Like you could always get some other girl. Even if, but at some point, everybody gets a little old, not pulling chicks as well, whatever it is. So, anyway, Lyle, what am I drinking today? I really haven't drank that much since I've been home. I'm telling you, I've just, I've gotten away from it a little bit more than I'd like, but I had all these thoughts like, man, I'm gonna go home and, have all this nice bourbon and shit. And really haven't drank much. My son got me, I keep telling him don't buy me whiskey. And he bought me this whiskey. which, I mean, it's good. And it's the only reason I'm not clowning him. But he got me this whiskey that was made with 100% malted barley, which if I hadn't tasted this, if I hadn't tasted this before I read this thing and he brought this home to me, I would have been clowning on him. But it's Stranahan's, which is a Colorado whiskey. It's a single barrel. And it's 61 proof, or no, 61%. So it's 122 proof. And it was a store pick from Bevy's. And it's called Dessert in a Glass. So it actually it's actually a whiskey that kind of leans, oddly enough, with all that barley and not as much corn or rye or whatever, it leans very heavily towards the bourbon. All right, anyway, that's what I'm drinking. All right, the blonde side. I saw a company other than Wilson hauling a Wilson trailer. Looks like they're cherry picking and brokering out the bad stuff. I've seen a lot of there must be a lot of broker freight because I've seen a lot of trucks that aren't like 389 Peterbilts and shit like that pull in some of our freight. And I'm not talking about containers. I used to always see that, but I'm just saying regular prime trailers. I've seen some of these owner operator types pulling that freight. And like I said, I don't really care, to be honest with you. All right. Tyree is speaking like a champ. Simple communication can solve a lot of these companies' problems. Now, I'm not going to speak about the company I'm with now, but there have been a lot of companies that have gone out of business that were forever companies that part of the reason they're not around anymore is because they were a little too cocky about their procedures and processes and stuff like that, and they got rolled up on. So nothing's forever. All right, off-grid trucker, absolutely treat drivers like shareholders. They have a huge stake in the business. It's a good one there. It's more like the A fleet with a few trucks get some of the contracts and the win for Prime. It's not their DOT when it comes time for a claim. It's like multi-level marketing. I know somebody that's on the A fleet, and I've known somebody on the A fleet. There's Trucker Richie Rich that he'll post on YouTube a while, and he said he feels like the A fleet gets the leftovers from, that the normal fleet doesn't take. I don't know. I don't really concern myself with that. I just do what I could do. I'm fortunate that I happen to have this truck paid off right at the right time. I just looked at those truck payments for the 2025s, and those are some payments. So those payments on those 2025s are, and I'm not talking about a lease purchase. Lease purchase, what a lot of people don't realize is lease purchase trucks, if you actually do the lease purchase, those payments are about $100 less a week than the typical regular lease. And I think part of it is because you're financing that APU, and basically your down payment is pretty much going to cover that cost. So you don't have those two separate payments. So my truck payment on this truck was $1,063. So that, if you're talking about $1,500, you're talking about $1,200 more a month. If you happen to be new coming to Prime and you're in this chat, I would probably consider getting an old lease, like a lease that's got a year left on it, 6 months left on it. a mistake that a lot of people make it at this company is they'll lease a truck and they'll be like, I want to get the shiny brand new one. And then at the same time they're saying that, they're like, I'm only going to be at Prime a year to get my experience. Well, what the fuck? Why don't you just do a year lease on a truck? Get an older truck, run it for a year, and then make up your mind if you're going to stay or go from there. But if you were leasing a truck at Prime and you're not completing the lease, you're losing out. Those leases are not meant to be broken. All right. Prime Trainer Tim, what's up? Think I saw you over in Kiersey's comment section earlier today. All right, yo, bro, you ever entered the land of wisdom with the film flam blaming? And why? I don't know what that is, man. Natured Nugs, what's up? Did you leave Prime? No, I didn't leave Prime. I was speaking about two other people that left Prime. Those of you guys just came in, you know, a couple people left Prime. Go check out Trucking Along with Kiersey. She just put out a video talking about leaving Prime. Romaine the trucker just put one out like about 2 days ago. And then the other news that just came up today is my old trainer's coming back to Prime. He's been out for a little over a year, maybe 2 years. So he's having to do some miles. So he hit me up today. I thought he was joking, asking if I would train him. So he is the only person that I would train. And a lot of that is because it brings me back to the nostalgic days of Prime. It's not just him. It's that whole era. You know what I mean? So, all right. Somebody, Mr. Davis, who is my favorite basketball player of all time? Dominique Wilkins, Atlanta Hawks, number 21. He was who I like watching the most. Dr. J might have been my favorite of all time. You know, let's call that a tie. Dr. J, Dominique Wilkins. As a matter of fact, my name in French class when I was in high school was Dominique because of Dominique Wilkins. Tyree, the new Peterbilts with the shorter time or the shortened frame look horrible. I was just talking to somebody about that just earlier today. And we were talking about problems that he's having with his Freightliner. And he was like, do you think it's because the truck bounces around a lot? And I was like, you know, probably. Because if you ever look at somebody, a lot of times you look at people's tires that have Freightliners, you see a lot of this pitting on the drive tires. And I think it's because the back tires always seem to be bouncing a little bit more. So he needed to get some S bolts or something like that tightened up. And I brought that up about the shortened wheelbase. And that was like, I don't know why they came up with that or what the philosophy was with that, but that is, again, sometimes you need to explain some shit. Don't just push it out there. Like, explain, here's why we're going to this. And, you know, maybe beforehand, you know, use the driver advisory board for something that they can actually, you know, maybe they can give their opinion on without trying to go full retard on something. You know, we're thinking about going with these long wheelbase or these shortened wheelbases. Anybody out there have a Peterbilt? What do you think? And then maybe if you could get a real response out of one of them, then, you know, kind of listen. But that's a bad fucking move. Why would you even shorten that wheelbase up? If anything, you need to lengthen the wheelbase on the Freightliner. That is just stupid. So that might be one of those things where, again, I have to buy another truck to complete 10 years at Prime, if that's what I want to do without leaving free money on the table. Maybe I go and ask them, okay, I need to buy a truck outside of Prime. If I buy it up here at the Springfield Peterbilt, are they going to be able to, fit within whatever you guys need? So I don't know. I could be buying a new truck at any time now. It just depends. I got somebody that's probably looking to buy one or buy the one I have. Just a matter of when. Oh, them short wheelbases are absolutely stupid. Rotten, can I borrow some money? You got a better chance of getting some money from me than a real friend, because I've seen money come between real friendships too many times, but I'm still going to have to go with no on that one. All right. Jared, your life is my Prime meeting. You might hear a little more reality. I don't know. All right. What's up, Barry? No love for the Larry Bird. I like Larry Bird. I just didn't like the Boston Celtics. That was just a trash team. Yeah, I wouldn't say that Larry Bird was like, one of my favorite players back in the days. I mean, and it's, don't want anybody saying why. Is it because he was white? Because one of my favorite players was white, back in those days, Tom Chambers. As a matter of fact, Jack Sikma. Oh, another player I forgot to mention. He's not one of my favorite players. He's one of my favorite dunkers of all time, was the Rain Man, Shawn Kemp. See, you had to be a real student of the game to appreciate Larry Bird. This whole doing layups when you got, 6 feet, nobody's around you for 6 feet at the rim and you're doing layups just wasn't my, I was looking for a little bit more excitement. But I'm gaining even more appreciation for Larry Bird now that some of these stories are coming out about him and how much shit he used to talk to people. Like, they were saying this thing about Larry Bird, and he was like, who's going to be covering me today? Oh, so-and-so and so-and-so is going to be covering you today. You putting a white guy on me? Man, I feel disrespected. I'm going to drop 50 on him today. Larry Bird was talking some shit. Oh, Romaine, what's up? Those of you guys that have been here earlier when we were talking about one of the drivers leaving Prime over the last couple of days, Romaine the trucker is one of those. All right. Martino Ebanks. Or fuck that. Well, however you pronounce it. It's too small for me to read. Why do people still talk crap about Prime, discouraging other people from coming here? A guy came up to me today wanting to come, but he said he was hearing too much negative shit. It depends on why somebody's coming to Prime. I don't think anybody's talking crap about Prime. Like, if you think about anything that I've said negative about Prime, or Kiersey, even when she just did her video leaving Prime, those of us that have been, I talked to somebody else that left Prime just, probably 3 months ago, and we were having this conversation, and it's like not even that he was mad about Prime, because he'd been at Prime for like 9 years, eight years. He just said he felt sorry about it. Like, he loved it so much that it actually hurt him to leave. So if you're coming to Prime wanting that whole, shit that it was like before 2022 or 23 or whatever year, I still haven't gone back or cared enough to go back and figure out when this time period was. A lot of people say 3 years ago, 2.5 years ago. If you're so one of my boys, he's usually in here, but he's not because he's on home time right now. He doesn't like when we talk about stuff. He might be saying I'm having a bad week or whatever the situation is, or I'm having a good week, but he's never been emotionally binded to Prime. So if Prime doesn't work out, he could leave and not like. You want passionate people at your company. And when those are the people that you should look at like the canary in the coal mine. You know what I'm saying? So and I've said it before, I love the Marine Corps way more than I fucking love Prime. And I talk shit about the Marine Corps and some of the dumb shit that they do. You know what I'm saying? So when you hear some people talk about it, a lot of people are more upset, and some people will have you believe that it's about the cameras and it's about the whatever these new policy changes are. That's not it. That has barely anything to do with it. So I think it depends on who they're listening to. Like I think somebody could listen to somebody like me. I've always said if it's about the money, you're going to make the money, blah blah blah, but that other shit is gone. So I've never said don't come to Prime. It's a bad place to come. All this kind of stuff. I'm saying it's harder for us people that have been around a while. And trust me, I've spoke to people that have been at Prime a lot longer than me, more high profile than me, that have had the same feelings. So it's not the money. And if it doesn't have to be about the emotional feeling all the time. I'm just saying if you want to have a great company, you want to have an unstoppable company, I think you need that. Because that's when you get those ride or die people. Like, you know what? Freight's down. You know what? I'm going to stick it out. I'm going to tighten up my belt at home. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. Whatever it is, because I'm that dedicated to that company. You know what I mean? You need those people around. And I think a lot, okay, so you get a different feeling on Facebook. A lot of the Facebook people are just negative to be negative or just actually, and I've started making it a point. Every time I see a dumb fucking comment on Facebook is I go and look at their profile and see kind of what they did before that. And I don't light them up right away. I just keep it in the background just in case there's a day that I need to use that shit. Because some of these people trying to act like, anyway, not always the most bright people that are on Facebook talking shit about Prime. And a lot of those people are underperformers, and you can see it just in there. So there's a difference. And I know I'm too long-winded on this shit. There's a difference between people because I still would feel a little like not as happy as I was before, even if everything was the same as, like if the numbers were the same. The numbers were never why I even stayed at Prime. It was more than that. So anyway, you do have people that just talk shit about Prime, and it's like a starter company, and you're renting trucks and doing all that kind of stuff. I get that. I don't think most people on YouTube portrayed that until they left Prime, potentially, and even a lot of those people that left Prime and done videos have said, "But I always made money," or something like that. So anyway. I mean, if I'm nostalgic about it, I talked to somebody who'd been at Prime for so long, like forever, like going back to like the 90s and shit. And we had a long conversation. And I mean, I know it's hard for him to have that conversation with me when he's talking about, Rob Lowe's mom used to like do this, and you couldn't lease right off the bat. You had to like, I don't remember if you had the team first or you had to like go company first, but it was like, it was just a lot of stuff that he's gone through a shitload of changes as well. A lot of them good, a lot of them bad. It seems like there hasn't been that same balance lately, but as they said, they don't apologize for that. So tell your people, if they come up to you, there ain't no. Could you make more money at Prime elsewhere? You could probably make more money at a whole bunch of different places. But if you do, you don't want to turn into one of them people leaving and going to 25 different companies a year, because Prime does have a track record of a lot of people leaving Prime. And there's a girl that left Prime probably before I started there, and she has had nothing but fucking problems ever since she left Prime, and was doing fine. I don't even remember why. I'd have to go watch some of her old videos as to why she left Prime, but and not everybody's having a hard time. I'm just saying there's a ton of people left Prime that love it, like Trucker Crespo went to Walmart. Hey, I'm all about that decision. Same thing with old boy. I wanted to give him a call today. 2 Truck Money BG, he left and went to Walmart. So, I mean, there's a lot of people that left Prime doing well. The flatbed dude, Toll Booth Jimmy, think he's doing fine. So there's a ton of people that have left and done well. There's a whole lot of people that have left Prime that have done like astronomically horrible. And I think the last time I brought this up, somebody guessed who I was talking about. Child of God, Jesus loves me. That's great. It's always good to know that. Hi, Max. What's up? Are you still running your private fleet? Hell no. That was the worst business decision I've ever made in my life. I don't think I've had a happier day in my life as was when, okay. I got to look at it as a period of time. I was super happy when I sold the 21, and I was super happy when I got down to 1 truck. That was, man, I have not been happier in my life than to dump that shit. And I don't even think Prime wants a private fleet right now. They're putting more shit on private fleets. Like now you got to pay for the 401k match, and now you got to pay for the paid home time. I could maybe see the paid home time, but at some point it just doesn't make sense to do it. And then they were making it. Listen, everything they did was to keep you from wanting to do a private fleet at Prime. It was somewhat easier to get drivers because, I know a bunch of people or whatever like that. But then it was like, okay, well, Romaine the trucker just quit Prime, right? I was going to offer him, because I was thinking about I was right in the midst of shutting down the company and everything. And I was like, okay, I could run 2 paid off trucks. Romaine has the right temperament, whatever. I was like, just keep it real. I reached out to him, said, all right, got a couple of different pay plans. It could either be 60 cents a mile with, this much money per drop and this much money for this and this much money for that, or 70 cents a mile. I think it was 70 cents a mile. And his fleet manager cock blocked me. So block and blessing. So, and this was right around the time, if you remember, there was that time when they was like, if you want to upgrade and go company, then you're going to have to team. Some people say that was never said. I saw the message, right? So it was around that time. So I'm thinking, well, hey, if they don't want any company drivers on the fleet, boom, I could take one out right now. Wouldn't let them do it. So now they're making it twice as hard for you to get drivers. They're making it more expensive to keep the drivers. Now they've come up with this other shit where you need to have, I've been hearing $20,000 per truck in an emergency fund, which whatever, that is what that is. I don't know if that's the final number that they've come up with or not. And then they shortened up how long you could keep the truck on the fleet, right? So they basically destroyed at least what my business plan was. Like you can't get traction. Like, really. Like, okay, I got the fleet running. We're finally making money because this truck's paid off. So-and-so, truck number 270598 needs to be turned in by October. God damn. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, listen, you can still make money doing it, but the cards are definitely stacked against you. Anyway, I'm 3 months to the end of my lease, and I'm thinking about leaving Prime. This Peterbilt keeps breaking down. 8 weeks with no pay. Hey, Jarvis, what's the problem with the Peterbilt? One thing I've learned about Peterbilts is once you get them dialed in, they're kind of dialed in. It seems like they come out the box like first 35, 40,000 miles with some issues or something like that, or maybe even longer. But once you get them dialed in, they're kind of dialed in, and they're not problems that keep you from running per se a lot of times. But my Peterbilt's getting so good at fuel economy. They're talking about, well, you could get an overhead done on it and all this shit. I'm like, I'm not fucking touching that engine. All right. Blonde Side's talking about you should be getting breakdown pay, Jarvis. That breakdown pay should at least cover your truck payment. Romaine the Trucker's talking about, hi, Tammy, what's going on? Breaker, what's my 20? Centennial, Colorado. Let me check my damn battery. Okay. Golden Boy Expert, what's up? So for those of you guys just came in, I hate to keep repeating myself, but I don't know how long everybody's been in here. I might be going back to Prime to pick up my old trainer to train him, technically train him, since he's coming back to Prime. He needs to do some miles. He's probably the only person I would do that shit for. And it's like not even like training, right? I would hate to be the student or the trainer that picks him up with 2 years of experience that actually wants to like train him, or even just like, it's kind of complicated when the student knows more than the teacher, right? Which he was a fucking hell of a driver. My fleet manager said that he was one of his best drivers, and I know my fleet manager liked him better than he liked me, because my trainer was automatic. My trainer was, you got a load sent, you were running that load straight out. Like, I think I might be like a 8.25 on a scale from 1 to 10. My trainer was like literally 10. Like, obviously never late, all that kind of shit. But I mean, he didn't even have to think about my trainer turning down a load. It was just, boom. He was like point and shoot. And I make things a tad bit more complicated at times. All right, the Blonde Side is hoping that hoping the new job for Romaine works out for you. Apparently, there are a few drivers at Prime that have gone over to that company that Romaine is going to that have came back with some intelligence saying that they're doing better, whatever it is. So that might be the case until you motherfuckers keep recruiting people over to that company. Oh, shit. You guys be over there recruiting the reason why you ain't making no money pretty soon. Yep, I am ready to go to sleep here in just a little bit. Now, here's some shit my wife did, and I didn't get a chance to talk to her completely about this. And it was probably some dumb shit that my son did. These motherfuckers are in, Slime Pack. They're in Puerto Vallarta, Mexico right now. They are in some meeting. Basically, it's not a timeshare meeting, but these guys agreed to go listen to a meeting about this tequila. As a matter of fact, let me call these motherfuckers to listen about this tequila. And then I forget what they got. I think they might have got a free bottle for going to this meeting. And I'm like, you guys are fucking idiots. Let me see if I can get one of these idiots on the phone. Who goes and sits in a meeting for a free bottle of tequila just to hear their sales?
Literally, I just said your name.
Hopefully you didn't say my name because you were like, Lyle is calling us a dumbass right now for sitting in on a meeting and buying some tequila.
She said,
No, we got free tequila.
she said, the love of my life just called.
Okay.
We did it for a free bottle of tequila.
We did it for free tequila.
Okay.
That's why we did it
and
for
what-
free.
Lyle, we almost gave him your number as a reference just to watch.
I said, oh no, I like her.
Eat them alive.
Exactly. I was like, no, she's cute. I like her. We won't do that. He will eat her alive.
Well, if you liked her, you wouldn't have been in there jacking them off over some bottles of tequila. Did anybody buy
It
anything?
was free.
Well, I know, but that wasn't the
No.
purpose. No, so you're telling me nobody in this entire crowd bought tequila?
We did get tequila.
No, for sitting in on their presentation, the tequila we got free tequila.
A presentation for what?
A bottle. A sales presentation. That's why we did it.
That's why my ass will
Mason
never
messed
be.
with them.
Just to find out.
Mason messed with them.
Yeah, that's why my ass is never going anywhere with you guys doing this cheap ass shit.
You would have been proud of Mason.
I
You
would,
have been proud of Mason.
man. Anyway, all right, I'm about to get off here.
Love you too, Lyle.
All right, love you.
Love you, baby.
All right, have fun.
I learned a lot from you, Lyle.
I'm sure.
He messed with them, but he did it in a really sweet, innocent, nice way.
All right, have fun. I'll check out later.
All right, love you.
All right, love you too.
Bye. Love you too, bye.
They go and sit in on some damn sales presentation for a bottle of fucking tequila. What dumb shit is that? Anyway, Slime Pack is talking about she's home more than she's on the truck. What's up, Jay Jr.? Yeah, Slime Pack is living the life. If I was younger and wanted to put up with all this shit, man, trust me, I don't know how anybody comes up with the time to do all that fucking filming and all that kind of stuff. I mean, seriously, like, I couldn't do it. But shit, that's what being young will do for you. Well, yes, you know, there's no reason to worry about how much money you're making off of trucking when you're making more off of the YouTube channel, right? But Slime Pack better watch out. She does not want to get called into the company and have them asking how much money she's making on YouTube. All right, car comparison channel. My uncle had a late 70s Mac. I think I've always been partial to Peterbilts. I don't know why. I just saw some old pictures of me like back in like it had to be 1976. And we were taking a vacation driving from Colorado to San Diego, and I still remember going to the truck stop and buying it. My brother bought a Freightliner hat. I bought a blue Peterbilt hat. And this is back going to like it had to be 1978, maybe 79 at the latest. Hey, Slime Pack, you know what? She'd be perfect to train my. Why don't you actually? You know what? Romaine could have been training my trainer. Man, that's not even like training. That's like free money right there. Other than you got a team. Matter of fact, let me just call and make sure he's fucking serious. Home time for Blitz Week, absolutely.
What's going on, Bomber?
Nothing. So you serious about this? I'm just making sure.
Hey, I am serious about this. That's why I said tomorrow I will know a little bit more about the process of whatever I got to do. And I am dead serious. And I'm gonna go talk to James. That's why I said tomorrow you'll know for sure. Cause I'm gonna get up. I gotta get my badge tomorrow so I can be able to go to my limit. So I go talk to whoever I need to talk to over there, and I'm gonna go from there and call you from there.
All right. Probably the earliest I'll be able to get out there is like Wednesday of next week, maybe Thursday.
Okay, no problem, man, no problem. Like I said, I'm gonna give you a call tomorrow. Soon as I get my badge, go to the limit.
Now all right. Don't be fucking around trying to act like you know what you're doing.
Hey, I don't know what I'm doing.
Shut up, motherfucker.
What you talking about? You know I know what I'm doing. I race out a truck.
Man, I already tell people about your ass. I think about you almost every time I'm driving at night looking, and I'm thinking about going to a truck stop. Loud. There's always a spot.
There's always a spot. You know? And look, it went crazy. I was just talking about you not so long ago, and the two white dudes. He was like, nah, no, he didn't. He like, you train? I said, yeah, I train. So I had to call him to make sure he can train me. He said, yeah, because he is at home. I was like, how did they know you at home? They were watching your video. And then they were talking about you turning your truck into the shop. I'm like, how they do all this shit? So you were telling me about your hometown. I was like, I ain't even know about it.
All right, man. Just keep me updated.
Yes, sir. I sure will. Like, as soon as I get my bag, I'm going straight to the middle. I'm going to talk to who I need to talk to, and I'm going to call you. I'm going to call you then.
All right, man. I'll check you out later.
All right, bye, man.
I just got to make sure he's serious because that shit right there, man, we had some of the funniest fucking, like, some of the stuff you would, like, if you weren't in the situation, you'd think it was fucking stupid. But some of the stuff that we, like, there's just a lot of memories that go along with that shit. I mean, we spent 7 months on the truck. You know what I mean? I mean, we had home time in between there, but it was a long time. And I just remember some of them conversations. I did a video. I've done 2 videos I've done multiple videos with him, but one of the videos was when my son bought this hot ass hot sauce, like one of the hottest hot sauces in the world, and he said he could eat it. And we were at the TA in Denver. He came out to pick me up, and he picked up a load going to Utah. He picked me up at the TA. we're gonna continue on to Utah or something like that. And he put this hot sauce on some Popeye's chicken, and that was the funniest shit ever. There's a video about it. Man, it was so fucking hot. He got up out of the truck and was wandering around. I mean, he could have got hit actually looking back on it, because the shit was so hot. He just got out of the truck and started walking away, and we were parked like along the curb of the street. So that shit was hilarious. The time that we were having the conversation at the Petro in California, Ontario, when he was telling me that he was gonna quit. He didn't know I was filming him, but he was gonna be quitting Prime and starting his. As a matter of fact, hold on. He was gonna quit and start his movie career, or not movie, but he was gonna get into music and all this shit. That was a hilarious video. We got the video when we were on the last, it was my last load with my trainer, and I gave him this watch that was a pretty expensive watch. And so I gave him that watch just on our last run. So we had a lot of good times. I'm just saying.
I don't believe you though. I mean, I think you want to quit.
Man, my mind's sick.
I mean, I think you.
If you want me to go and tell James, I'm gonna put my 4-week notice in. That's what you want to do. I ain't never heard nobody put a 4-week notice in. Man, I'm trying to tell you.
Anyway, that's a hilarious video.
It's a walk away lease. And I ain't get penalized. Over with, loud. It's over with, man.
All this money you've been making with Prime.
All this money. And I still got all of it.
And he just gonna walk away.
Yeah. Because look, all I'm doing is driving.
He said, all I'm doing is riding and sleeping. Anyway, all right. Tyree, how many miles does my trainer have to do? I'm going to probably figure they're going to try to hit him with that 40,000. We'll see. But man, I'm going to tell you, I will be able to know if they're throttling teams by what I'm doing with him, because he's how I learned to run how I run. We don't do no, I'm going to drive from 12 to 12 and you're going to drive to 12 to 12. No, you run out that 11 or that 14 or whatever. When that shit's exhausted, then we switch. And that's how I came up under him. So, and he's the one that gave me loud, because we were in Washington. I still remember. It was like 5 o'clock in the morning on like a Saturday. We didn't pick up until maybe, let's say 5 p.m. at some other place, like 300 miles away. So I'm like, oh man, we're about to be chilling today. So we don't have to pick up until, whatever time tomorrow. He's like, Lau, we don't do no windows. So I don't know about that, Tyree. I do not know. But what I do know is, I don't know for sure, but he's at least as good or better than I am. And I'm just saying straight out the box. Like, no question in my mind. And I'm going to say that he's more valuable to Prime than I would be, first of all, because I think he's the type, because he always had trained once he kind of got his experience or whatever. He'd been trained, like he was a trainer to do back to back to back, and all this shit. So he's proud. I don't know for sure. I can see him training again, and he will not deny shit. So he's way more valuable than me because I ain't going to be training nobody else. And I will deny some shit if it's not going. Now, I won't be able to do it while I'm training because I already know I got to prepare my mind to do all the bullshit I don't want to do, while I'm training or teaming, should I say. Man, he will not eat that hot sauce again. I probably still have it because, the bottle was only this big, but you could not eat more than, like, if you put a toothpick in it and put it in your mouth, that shit was like way too hot for that. I'm all about the shit. You could go to my barbecue cooking channel. You've seen me do, scorpion chili pepper challenges, habaneros, all these different kind of peppers. That shit there was way hotter than I've done the chip challenges and all that. That hot sauce was ridiculous. I'm not even sure you could even technically get hotter than that. Essentially it was the fucking oil. So basically the pepper oil concentrated down with a little bit of like paste or whatever too. That shit was hot. And it was so hot that we ended up having to stop at the little Lincoln Memorial for him to take a shit. Like, it was fucking with his stomach the whole drive. Yep, that's what it was called, The End. It was called The End. As a matter of fact, we mentioned the name of that hot sauce in the video. Matter of fact, let me just see what the video is now, in case you wanted to watch it. All right, if you wanted to watch that video, there's a video on my channel. All you'd have to do is Google No Hippie Prime Inc. Tough Guy TNT Trainer Fail. That'll bring up that video. And then I think I did a taste test on my own that shows up right around there as well. But yeah, that shit was crazy. Anyway, shit. This changes everything, man. If I'm going to be teaming, it changes how I pack. It changes all that shit. It changes what I bring on the truck. All right, anyway, I appreciate you guys stopping by. No Hippie Trucking and Transportation. Go check out Kiersey, Trucking Along with Kiersey, her video. Go check out Romaine the Trucker. Go check out my hot sauce video with my old trainer. Actually, if you go back to, I got quite a few videos with my old trainer on there. Bringing back the nostalgia. Anyway, I'm about to get out of here. I appreciate you stopping by. I'm out.